Thank you to Water Wheel Little Horse for their generous donation on Patreon. If you'd like to join them in their generosity, the link to my Patreon page is in the description. When I get to the sheriff's office, I knock on the door. I expect the gruff coyote to meet me, but what I hear is the cheerful voice of Todd instead. Oh my, it's Samuel. Oh God, I gotta hear his voice again. I keep forgetting what it is. Well, I'm a summon a woman. Oh my, it's Samuel. Come on in. I blink. What is this? Listen to this fucking... That's a fucking song. I like it. The office is tidy as if the accident never even happened. Even the window looks like it just did. What? Even the window looks like it just did. Oh, like it did before. Just like it did. Fuck. It was written right and I fucked it up. I didn't expect to see you again this soon. By his scent, he probably wasn't planning on seeing anybody. Did you, perchance forget to freshen up, Todd? Huh? You're a bit, well, ottery today. Oh. The otter titters nervously. Sorry about that. I can't abide a mess, and that window needed fixing. Wait. Did you sleep, Todd? I napped. You can't be serious. I'm always serious. When it comes to things that matter, anyhow. Is the body still in the jail? No, we took him to the coroner hours ago. To identify and officiate the body and all. Is that where William is right now? Nah, he's at the pawn shop trying to trace the sale of the gun, I reckon. Which shop? Not sure, but we'd probably just get in the way if we intruded, so it's best we wait for him to get back. The otter stretches his arms and torso, yawning. Think you can make it that long without dozing off? I hit my second wind, so I'll be sleepy, but I won't fall asleep. You keep a lot of odd hours. Not as odd as yours, I suspect. Fair enough. Though I'm usually done with everything by 10 and up at 6. That's much more ordinary than I'd have figured. Sometimes there are extraordinary situations, but that's the gist of it. It's just another job. Sure, but it's hard to think about how somebody gets into work like that. Sometimes it's just a matter of looking at something and somebody looking back. Not so different from how you were looking at that Cliff fella yesterday. Huh? Oh, you were thinking about him? Not so much about him. More how what he's like. What do you mean? Well, he's fancy, but he still wears a man's clothes and sounds like a man. But sometimes he acts like how I think a pretty lady would act. It made me confused about how to treat him. But instead of just him, it started making me confused about how I treat everybody. Why is that? Well, my mama always said the most important thing is to treat a lady right. But also, it'll wound a man's dignity to treat him like he's soft. But how do you treat a man who acts like a lady at times? It would be wrong not to recognize he's soft, wouldn't it? I guess. Where exactly is this all going? I was just thinking you must have met all sorts of people like that Cliff fella. I have never met anybody like Cliff. I met all sorts of people who don't know how you'd assume they should act. Who'd act how you would assume they'd act. Like how everybody says we're supposed to act. You must know all about people in ways I'll probably never know. Like? Well, like bodies for one. I'd certainly feel real bad if I didn't know much about bodies by now. Such as, are everybody's bodies really much different from one another? I'd say so. Though I guess there are a lot of similarities if you think about it. Cocks and clits look pretty much like the same thing, one's just bigger. And they both swell up and both can squirt. That ottery smell is a lot stronger now. I think Todd's aroused, but he probably doesn't even realize it. Never thought I'd have a conversation like this with him. I'm sure I don't need to explain the squirtin'. Do you like pleasing ladies too, then? I'm not sure how to answer a question like that. I don't hate it. It's like feeling nothing because it's just another job. Aren't the men just jobs too? You don't have to put it like that. Sure. But they feel different and smell different. And when I please a man, something different happens to my body. There's a sickening sort of rush that makes me come harder. I have less control over it. And it feels really good in a way that other things never can be. The otter nods. His paw is on his lap, and he's squeezing it. This has been interesting, Sam. I have a lot to think about. I can tell. Todd looks away. Please don't tell nobody. I'm not in the position to, even if I wanted. The otter lets out a sigh. Thank you. The otter taps his webby paws in his lap. I think I'm getting tired. I'm fucking up a lot. I'll be back in a jiffy. I had to take care of something upstairs. Take your time. I appreciate that. He's gonna go jerk off. He's up there for a while. When he finally comes down, he brings a bunch of items to freshen up the room. Todd lights a few sticks of incense in the room to freshen it up. Though considering the strength of William's nose, I doubt it'll do much good. We don't hear the front doorknob and the hall jiggle for a while. I smell William's familiar peppery canine smell before I see him. Oh good, you're already here. He looks distracted suddenly. Then he sniffs the air. Todd, what the... Why does my office smell like a shrine? The new window smelled queer. For the record, queer, old-time, the original definition just means, like, odd. Jesus Christ. So I thought some incense could help. William smells the air again. He squints. We'll talk about this later. I found out who bought the gun. You did? Like I said, I didn't think it would be difficult to trace. Huxley Green bought that gun on the day he assaulted Mr. Tibbets. So that's why the target was Cliff. I knew that fucker was hateful, but this is an excessive amount of spite for a fella he had met in a day and also beat the shit out of. Then he disappeared without telling nobody? Maybe he hopped on a train so he could lie low until things brushed over. It's a possibility. We don't know enough to speculate. I think it's time we paid Mrs. Green a visit. So, should I stay here? I'd feel more comfortable if you came along. Huh? An extra pair of eyes is always helpful. Frankly, seeing more of what I see every day would do you good for the matters we have previously discussed. Up and at 'em, boys, let's go. Todd grabs his vest from the coat rack while William and I head for the door. The three of us walk together. Some folks wave, others turn their gazes. Marcy Green lives in a community of clustered log cottages in the middle of town. That's not a log cottage. Anyway, I remember how the smell of burnt sugar and butter used to tempt passing townsfolk to stick around a little while. A year ago, Mrs. Green's front window always used to stay open. Except her husband didn't like that so much as he dropped the habit. But it's hard for old habits to die, ain't it? Strange. That window is open again. The heavenly scent of cinnamon, butter, and huckleberries tickles my nose. Hello, hello! A girlish chirp comes from the window, and I see something shuffling around inside. Mr. Bronson, and you've brought Mr. Adler for a visit, and someone new as well. The rat that greets us at the door is plump and pretty, but her outfit is difficult not to stare at. It's a bright red dress. and made entirely out of yarn with mismatched buttons on the wide straps. It's like a dress you could easily picture on a child or a doll, but the effect is peculiar on a grown woman.
You look happy, Marcy.
Right as raindrops. Come in, come in. You boys must be starving. William leads the way inside, following the plump little rat's humming. I don't like the sound of this. Something bad this way comes. Something foul this way smells. Something bad is gonna fucking happen. Okay. Okay. This is creeping me out. The inside of her cottage is much larger than I would have thought for just her and her husband living alone. The table sits 6. First thing that I can think about this house is that there's too many knitted things. Potted succulents sit in the center of the table with a cozy wrapped around them. The placemats are knitted too. Thankfully, the plates are not. I'll be back with a slice of warm pie for each of you in a jiffy. I don't need no... She was already hustling into the other room. Finish my breath and take a look around me. The couch against the window is covered in so many knitted dolls that I don't think there's enough room for sitting. She has gone off the deep end. She is not in her right mind. She might have killed her husband. I don't know what's going on here. Todd looks at me and follows my gaze. Huh. Those weren't there yesterday. William looks too. There's more than a countable number of crude dollies with embroidered mouths and button eyes. I flinch as I see a spatula flop a runny slice of pie on the plate in front of me. It's rude to stare, you know. My dollies are shy. I give William an uneasy look. He doesn't look back.
That tells me that these weren't here before.
He leans in, speaks softer, and gives her a smile.
What gave them the courage to come out?
After she put a piece of pie on each plate, she carefully put the dish down on a cozy and took a seat, sitting up straight and setting her paws in her lap. Well, truth be told, I'm too simple to make anything pretty. But I don't think you have to be pretty to be loved. And I love these dollies very much. Some girls at the schoolyard were nice enough to show me how to make 'em, but I still have to practice. Where are you hiding 'em? She giggles again. Maybe. My eyes and ears register what's going on around me, but I'm not sure my mind can yet.
Going back to things you love, Marcy. Do you have any suspicions about where your husband might be?
Her smile went away and her eyes widened, then looked away as if trying to recall something. Well, he usually turns up at that awful saloon drinking all that poison. Sometimes it takes a while for him to get back, but he always comes back. She laughs. It's just never been 3 days before. Her glance switches sides. I used to be bossy about not letting him go there, but I've been good for a whole year. She looks back at William, shaking her head. No, I don't tell him what to do anymore. He's nicer when he gets what he wants. Oh, Lord. She leans in and whispers. But isn't everyone? My gaze wanders back to her walls, and I catch something that I hadn't seen before. There's a quilted blanket tacked to the wall. I thought it just had strange colors at first, but the texture on parts of it is different. Like half of it is covered in mold. I know Grandmama's shawl ain't pretty anymore either. I turn to see her looking right at me. Huh?
My friend's just curious, ma'am. Don't let his looks distract you.
She's smiling ear to ear. The way it sags reminds me of Mama's smile. Sometimes she has to smile for me when things aren't so good. Her smile goes away and she pouts her lips. She looks above us, moving her head in a circular pattern, like she's looking at an invisible fly. Then she looks back at us. It's fun to arrange things in the house how I want them. But I think I've had my fun. Enough fun for a while. She puts a fork down and started to tap her wrist against the table. When do you think he's coming back? Todd stopped eating his pie.
We don't know, Marcy. We might have to look for him. Was he going to the saloon the last time you saw him?
She stared at nobody in particular. That's what he said. But he had already went in the morning. He never comes back and then goes to the saloon again. He always stayed as long as he could. But that's what he did that day.
So where do you think he really went?
Sometimes he threatened to take a train and leave me all alone if I wasn't good. Sometimes I thought that this would be swell, because it might mean that I could share my pies how I'd like, and play with my toys for as long and as much as I wanted. But I never said that to him. So I don't think he took the train. But sooner or later, he'd always bring up walking those tracks. Maybe he wanted a model train. Maybe he liked his toys too, but he just didn't want to tell me about it. My fork goes down. As good as the pie smells, I can't find my appetite. William stands, his plate entirely finished.
Thank you for your cooperation, Mrs. Green. We'll continue the search.
She looks up and smiles at him, then her gaze drifts away again, and it doesn't seem like she can fixate on anything or anybody. Todd, watching William stand up, starts scarfing down the rest of his pie as fast as he can. I decide to force at least one bite, and it's the best pie I've ever tasted. Yeesh, that creeped me the fuck out. We're far away from the house before I find the courage to speak again. The hell was all that?
The lead. If a weak one. We'll scout the train tracks next.
Maybe he's the one that got his legs cut off. That could be interesting. Are you sure that would be a productive use of time? Why wouldn't it be? I thought Mrs. Green was being very helpful. Nothing about all that made you feel uneasy? Not too uneasy. I think Mrs. Green is nice. Sure, Todd.
I said it was a lead. When you have a lead, you try it. When it goes nowhere, you move on. We don't have time to be dainty about these things.
I hear something in the distance. Uh-oh. Methinks a Hendrix doth approacheth. There's a mechanical sputtering. A shining automobile turns a street corner in front of us and begins to slow down. When the car reaches us, it slows to a stop. The glass window rolls down and the face of a ram smiles back. There he is.
Sheriff Adler, just the man I wanted to see. Me and my associates don't have time for leisurely dalliances right now, Mr. Hendricks. Just before you rebuff me again, please consider an exchange of valuable information. I so desperately need your help. I can't fathom a man in your position wanting for anything. Desperate may be something of a hyperbole, but if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You have nothing I need. Not even recent news of your ex-wife?
Oh, you fucker. You motherfucker. You motherfucker. William stops walking.
That's a dangerous bluff to make with me. You're gonna be real careful about what you say next. I'd like to discuss it with you in the vehicle. If I go, my men go with me. Only that one.
His eyes flick to me.
Only one of my men isn't driving. He can only watch one armed man.
How does he know I'm not armed? Permission to scout ahead, sir? He must be talking about the railroad tracks.
I'd rather you got some rest. Report back to the station tomorrow, Deputy.
Yes, sir. The Ram opens the back door of the car for us. Ooh la la. I get in first, and Mr. Hendricks follows, then William. Where to, sir?
Just drive around the block. I'll let you know when to stop.
The golden eyes of another wolf are watching me from the passenger seat. I look away.
As I've told you before, William, there was an agenda against my livelihood.
The Ram pulls out a scroll of paper from his pocket.
My secretary has compiled a list of suspicious individuals. Though some oppose me in secret, like the cowards that they are, others move openly. Many of the latter are jobless, so they have nothing better to do than bite at my heels. I am certain that you will discover many illegal activities if you comb through this list. You better not be bribing me with a check inside that roll of paper. Doing it to a sheriff, no less, could land you in a federal prison for years. Bribery?
The Ram lifts his chin and laughs.
Poppycock! It's merely a helpful list of suggestions, just to improve the efficiency of your duties. I would hate for the townsfolk to think that you were loafing around when we lack so much justice in this town. Stop the car!
I see the driver's eyes meet the Ram, and he nods. The vehicle slows to a stop.
I'm embarrassed for you, James. You really are entirely out of touch. Even the well-off folks are sitting around at home, barely able to take care of themselves. Because there's no stable sense of community for families. The people in this town want order, not justice. But order has a funny way of unraveling here. Things seem peachy at first, sure, but then they go all to hell in a handbasket in the blink of an eye. Because we just have clusters of unskilled, isolated strangers motivated by fear to survive. Your strangers. Your fear. And if that weren't the case, I don't think I'd be employed here. I know this town likes to pretend that it's God's gift to the world, but it's a whole lot of nothing pretending to be something. And I think deep down you know that. Something always fills the gap, James, and it's not necessarily gonna be you. If I may be frank, you're being incredibly dramatic. Am I? No man has brought more business to Echo than me. Our population grows substantially each month. We have a wonderful school, star attractions, desirable transit to up-and-coming major hubs, and natural wonders untapped for tourism. This town ain't World Fair material, James. You look like a damn clown in this honkin' thing compared to all the wagons.
Mr. Hendricks raises his voice.
Machines like this will change the world. When paved highways span the nation, then everybody will come to us, even faster than trains allow. Our ore, my ore, is building every big city in the region. Echo is thrilling, exciting place to live. And anybody who cannot see that deserves no less than scorn and mockery. The only excitement these people get comes from the shit that they put in their bodies. And, no.
His eyes flick to me for a moment, then back to James.
Come along, Sam. We don't need to waste any more time here.
He opens the door.
Wait!
William's tawny tail is already loosening him from the door.
Your wife arrived in town this morning.
His wife? I see William spin on the ball of his left heel.
What did you say?
That coyote reaches for his belt, and I feel James flinch beside me. The movement in the seats in front of me stay William's hand.
She's at the hip right now.
Shock and dread fill his face. Then a sense of urgency. He turns, bolting away from us faster than I've ever seen him go. Wait! The list! He's gone. Mr. Hendricks haws out a sound of remarkable frustration. Then he turns to me, and the anger melts away.
Now then, you seem like a boy with a good head on your shoulders.
I sure don't hear that very much, but okay.
Please take the list. Maybe you can drill into his thick skull that I may have helped him find that culprit.
You sure haven't, not unless I'm on that list. This is awkward. You don't listen to me either, but I'll see what I can do.
Good on you, boy. Good on you. There's always a hope and a prayer.
He slips the list into the front pocket of my shirt.
Off you go.
Thank you, sir. Slide my fingers under the door handle and push. Huh? The door doesn't open.
By the way, you don't agree with what that pig-headed idiot said, do you?
I'm not sure why you're asking me.
Mr. Adler and I are very important men, and we clearly have some passionate disagreements. But you offer an entirely different kind of perspective. So, tickle my curiosity.
Well, I think Echo's a goddamn hellhole. But in honesty, it's no better than the swamp I crawled out of. Seems to have some sort of mysterious appeal to folks like Dora and that fox and his family. The more I think about it, I wouldn't be surprised if both William and James were correct about some things. I can't tell what the future holds. So I can't give an honest, straight answer about who I think is right. Nah, William's full of shit. Ram laughs.
The big city's made him too pessimistic. I'm sure he'll see things my way eventually.
The Ram leaned over and flicked a knob on my door. Door handle lets me out this time.
You see?
He winks at me.
I'm really quite nice, wouldn't you say?
I exit quickly, but hopefully not too quickly. You said it. He waves me off as his automobile rumbles to a start again. When the car's out of sight, I start running in the direction of the hip. I stop to catch my breath. Folks turn their heads when I enter, but quickly lose interest. I see Harlan washing some mugs, so I approach him, still breathing hard.
Have you seen the sheriff come through?
Afraid not.
I hear loud, sudden shouting from upstairs. It's obvious who it belongs to. I look back at Harlan with some irritation, but he isn't making eye contact. Why did he lie to me? I move towards the stairs, but he grabs my shoulder.
Don't go up there.
More muffled yells boom from upstairs. A door slams open. William stomps down the stairs. Harlan's gaze follows him as the coyote shoves the saloon doors out of his way forcefully. I follow him outside. He's walking with a swagger and his tail is thrashing every which way. Somehow I get the feeling that if I called out his name, he wouldn't turn around. I don't even know if I want him to turn around. I don't think I've ever seen him in this kind of mood. So I walk with him at a distance until we're back at the station. He doesn't lock the door behind him, so I follow him back to his office. Both his hands are on the desk. What's going on? The coyote looks up at me with a grimace on his face.
My wife and my son followed me here is what's going on.
His wife? His son? Why?
I'm asking myself the same thing. If they wanted to leave the city, it would have been smarter to pick any other town. If they were followed, we're about to have a lot more problems.
What do you mean, followed?
Let's just say my prior position didn't leave me with the best of friends. It got so bad that the government got involved. If we wanted to stay, we had to change our names. I didn't, but my wife and son did. But coming here makes that whole ordeal pointless now.
Do you think James brought them here?
Maybe in part.
He shifts his weight to another foot.
She gave me a reason, but I don't know what to make of it.
What was it? The coyote exhales.
She said she wanted to see me again.
Huh? William had mentioned before that he didn't think of their current arrangement as close. Ain't that a good thing? Oh, Jesus. Y'all had a son together. What's he like?
I haven't seen him for 7 years, Sam. He's a grown man and a stranger to me. I don't want to look at him. And I don't want to look at her. They were just doing fine without me.
What did they do to you?
I don't want to talk about this with you.
I can't help but roll my neck in frustration. Wait a minute. There's something not right about his posture now. He's lying to me. Okay. But who else you got? Oh, so my God, what is this? Are they getting face to face for a fight, or are they gonna make out? Are they gonna slobber? William, I asked what they did to you. He avoids my gaze.
There was nothing wrong with them at all. He was a good, hard-working boy who got himself a job. And she was a dutiful wife. Always happy. Always kind. Seems like it was a lifetime ago.
So why did it end? William squeezes his fists.
Our world got torn apart. Dipped my nose too deep into trouble. Ruined a lot of powerful men. But that was only the beginning of the trouble. So we scattered.
You must have really loved her to sacrifice that. He closed his eyes.
No. That was the real problem. I didn't love her at all.
What do you mean?
Do I have to repeat myself? I never felt a damn thing.
He smiles a lonely smile.
I hated it. And I knew, and I know they both knew. But I wanted to give them a good life. And the harder I tried,
He let out a bitter laugh.
the worse off we were. And the more I wanted to wrap my lips around a gun barrel. So today feels like my wedding day all over again. Only there's nothing here to drink.
Jesus Christ. He's never talked this way before. What can I... Oh, man. Okay. So the choices are nothing, remind him of his heartbeat. Don't like that. I think your duty to your family is noble. You made a hard choice. It's okay to be a little bit selfish. Ugh. None of these are great. So what is the essence behind the choices? That's basically what we have to go with. Nothing, I feel like, is too abandony. I think your duty to your family is noble, is challenging. I think challenging his frustration a little bit. And I think kind of misses the point. But it also could be seen as just like praise. You made a hard choice. I think that's just straight up sympathy. It's okay to be a little bit selfish is a bit of a backhanded compliment because you're validating him, but you're also saying he's being selfish. The one I want to try first is you made a hard choice. That's the one I want to try first. You gave your youth to your wife and son, but you still ain't happy. Hell, I wouldn't be happy. I could never do something like that.
Maybe that's the difference between you and me.
Or maybe you just needed a friend to pull your head out of your ass. Marriage to a girl you didn't even love. The hell were you thinking? Like how he glares at me.
I was thinking this could be my one chance to have a respectable life. I was thinking her daddy was dead, her mama didn't love her, and that I was the only person who could give her some real happiness.
But none of it was real, was it?
It was for her. For a while.
For a while. William scratched his fur on the top of his head with some ferocity.
I'm embarrassed enough by what I did. Can you fucking drop this?
Fine.
Thank you.
There's a soft knock at the door. William growls.
The hell is it gonna be this time?
He stalked toward the door in the hallway and opens it.
Murdoch, the hell are you doing? You shouldn't be here. You should be in bed.
I'm sanitized, bandaged, and full of medicine. We must discuss what we missed the opportunity for last night. Okay, so I think that... Whoa, what the fuck? Hold up! I meant to click save. What the fuck happened there? Let's make some save states here. We're right here. Okay, so I'm going to commandeer this top row here. Boom. This one right here. This one. That one is you made a hard choice. So let's load up and also see what happens if we applaud his choices. Sometimes we do things we don't want to do, but it makes this world a better place. William barks out a laugh.
That was my thinking too back then.
He shakes his head.
For all the good that did.
It did plenty of good. Your family needed you. Your son wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for you. You gave him a part of your life so they could be happy. William closes his eyes.
Well, when you put it that way.
He stares at me.
Thank you, Sam. I suppose I forgot my resolve there for a moment.
He scratches the fur on his head.
Thanks for bringing me to my senses.
Of course. There's a soft knock at the door, and this is the same shit. Okay. So that one seemed to be a mite bit more positive. Let's load up this, and let's see what happens if we do the selfish option. I would have regretted it too. Though, that's me, ain't it? Already full of regrets, and I ain't nearly as old as you.
Old? You watch that dirty mouth.
It's only dirty because I've had you in it. William's lips split into a smile.
You don't know the meaning of the word priss. I always wash for you.
You could wash twice. He barks out a laugh.
Suppose I could. And I know how much you like to sniff below the balls. You never say soft when I remind you.
He does have a very striking scent down there. It's hard to explain. A scent that smells like home. What the fuck, home?
Hell, now all I have to do is make you think about it to pitch your tent.
Huh? Oh. Now that's why my pants felt tight. Shut up, William.
Sure thing, sweetheart.
It's a soft knock at the door. Okay, so that one was pleasant, but like doesn't resolve anything. Well, we're doing all of them. Let's fucking see what happens if we say nothing. William's gold eyes widen when I place my paw on his neck. He exhales deep, but he doesn't push me away. His pulse is absolutely thrumming. I start brushing his face. He doesn't stop me. We're very close now. I can taste sweet tobacco on his breath. He's the first to lick. William's never put his tongue in my mouth before, but it quickly retreats, as if he burnt his tongue.
I hate to imagine where that thing's been.
You already know some of the places.
I guess.
His ears flick, and he closes his eyes. He tastes me again. His grunts are happier that time. He releases with another smack.
So dirty, may as well be lapping cum and eating arse with you at this rate.
I chuckle. So why don't you?
As I know I'd never like it as much as you do.
Remains to be seen, Sheriff. Puts his big paw behind my head, drags it down to the table, and sucks on my tongue. Good lord. He whines a canine whistle, then sucks on my tongue like he's trying to swallow it. Feels like at least a minute has passed before he breaks off the kiss, gasping for air and heaving. He stands up and wipes his mouth. I think he wants to say something. There's a soft knock at the door. Okay. That's all 4 of them. That didn't go quite as I expected. So, you saw how I laid this out. There are the choices. It's also the end of the update. So fortunately, I can leave it up to y'all. What do you think is the right choice? Let me know in the comments down below what you think the right choice is out of those 4 dialogue options. And whatever one wins, if they are convincing to me, or if someone blatantly just says, oh, this one's the right one according to the coding of the game, because apparently Uki fucking does that, so whatever. Yeah, let me know in the comments down below which one you think is the right choice. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the Smoke Room. I have been the trained unprofessional, and you're not. Stay safe, everyone.